Have you ever stopped to think about how we're going to feed everyone on this planet, as our population keeps growing? Well, today, we're diving into a solution that seriously looks like it's from a sci-fi movie, but it might just be the actual future of farming. And it all starts with one pretty mind-blowing question.
Yep, you heard that right. Imagine growing fresh, healthy food without a single grain of dirt. It's an idea that could completely flip everything we know about agriculture on its head, from the farms in our villages to the rooftops in our cities, and, well, maybe even further than that.
But before we get into the solution, we really need to understand the problem we're trying to solve. And believe it or not, the problem starts right under our feet, with the very ground we've always depended on.
Okay, so here's the basic math. More people means we need more food. It's that simple. And for hundreds of years, our only answer has been to find more and more land, clearing forests and expanding our farms just to keep up.
But this can't go on forever, right? This constant expansion comes with a massive price tag. We're talking about deforestation, a loss of wildlife, and a huge impact on our climate. And the damage, it doesn't even stop there. Here's the real kicker. When we use the same piece of land over and over again, year after year, we're essentially stripping it of all the good stuff. All the nutrients get used up, the soil gets tired, it becomes less fertile, and eventually, it just can't grow the food we need to survive. This is what we call soil degradation. And this is not some small, isolated problem. I want you to just look at this number for a second. 33%. That's how much of India's land, a full third, is already suffering from soil degradation. We are literally losing the foundation of our entire food system. So it's pretty clear we desperately need a new way of thinking, a new way to farm.
And that brings us to a really innovative and, honestly, a very powerful alternative. It's a way to grow our food that completely gets rid of the one thing we always thought was absolutely essential: dirt.
Let's break down the word itself, hydroponics. It comes from two Greek words, hydro, which means water, and ponos, which means labor. So it literally means water labor. Instead of the plant's roots having to work hard and search through soil for food, we just bring the food, all the nutrients, directly to the roots through the water. It's a complete game changer.
I mean, just look at this. It's a whole different world from traditional farming, isn't it? Instead of just hoping for the best with the soil and the weather, hydroponics is all about control. It's about creating the absolute perfect environment for the plant. You could call it precision agriculture, giving the plants exactly what they need, exactly when they need it.
So how does this actually work in practice? This little table breaks it all down perfectly. So in soil, roots anchor the plant. In hydroponics, they're just held in place by little net pots or maybe a floating sheet. Simple. For nutrients, well, in soil, the roots have to find them. In hydroponics, we just mix them right into the water. And for a seed to sprout, in soil, it absorbs water from the ground. Here, we can just soak the seeds directly. See, hydroponics cleverly provides for every single need of the plant, just in a much more efficient way.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. Let's take a look inside a few of the most popular hydroponic systems. And some of these are so simple, you could actually try them out yourself.
First up, we have the wick system. Now, this is the simplest one of them all, a great starting point. It's what we call a passive system, which means no pumps, no moving parts. A wick, kind of like the one in an old oil lamp, just sits there and slowly draws the nutrient water up from a reservoir to the plant's roots.
And the best part is how simple it is to build. You can make one using things you probably have lying around the house right now, like an old plastic bottle and a bit of cotton thread or cloth. It is the perfect, easy introduction to the world of hydroponics.
Next, we've got the Deep Water Culture System, or DWC for short. Now with this one, the plant's roots are hanging directly in the nutrient water. But, and this is super important, there's an air pump that constantly bubbles oxygen into the water. This keeps the roots healthy and stops them from, well, drowning.
That little aquarium aerator is the real hero here. It's the key component that makes this whole system work so well. The plants just sit in their little net pots on a floating styrofoam sheet with their roots dangling down into what is basically a perfect oxygen-rich nutrient spa. And finally, let's look at the nutrient film technique, or NFT. This is a really popular one, especially for bigger commercial farms. It's an active system where a very thin, shallow stream of nutrient water, that's the film, is constantly flowing past the bare roots of the plants inside a tube or a channel.
The key player in this setup is a small submersible pump. It's always working, pushing the nutrient solution from a tank up into the PVC pipe, where it trickles over the roots and then drains right back into the tank to get used again.
It is incredibly efficient with both water and nutrients. Nothing goes to waste.
Now, these systems, they're more than just clever ways to garden. They really represent a huge shift in how, and more importantly, where we can grow our food. And that opens the door to some truly exciting possibilities for our future. Think about it. Because hydroponics doesn't need huge open fields, we can completely change how we use space. We don't have to grow out anymore, we can grow up. This is what we call vertical farming, stacking layers of crops on top of each other to produce a massive amount of food in a really small area. And that leads us to the next amazing step. If we can grow food upwards, why not do it right inside our cities? Old warehouses, the tops of buildings, even shipping containers can be turned into these amazing, high-tech farms. This is urban farming, and it means we can have fresh, healthy produce right where most people actually live. And this potential doesn't just stop at our cities on Earth. Get this, India's own space agency, ISRO, is already testing this out in space. They've successfully grown seeds up there. This isn't science fiction anymore. Hydroponics could be the technology that lets us feed astronauts on long journeys to the moon or even Mars. The future of food is literally being developed right now.
So, all of this leaves us with a pretty big thought to chew on. With our farmland under so much pressure and our population getting bigger every day, maybe the future of farming isn't about looking for more land out there. Maybe it's about looking up, right here where we live. Could our cities really become our next generation of farms? With technology like hydroponics, that future seems more possible than ever.